Let's talk about the rules of polarity. Let's talk about how people, men and women, can so badly misinterpret what I'm actually teaching and what I'm actually getting at. So if you read my books, or you read some of my posts, or you watch some of my videos, you might get the impression that there is certain rules that you need to be following, right? Rules of polarity, right? A woman should be asking her man permission. A woman should be expressing her feelings. A man needs to be giving directives and not expressing his feelings, and all this kind of stuff. Now, if you are completely cut off from your own, like a man's cut off from his cock, essentially, his instincts, or a woman is disconnected from her heart, from her femininity, then a lot of the stuff that I talk about can sound like rules that you need to be following. And if that's what you believe, if you believe that what I'm actually talking about, what I'm suggesting is that you need to follow polarity rules, you don't know the first thing about polarity. You don't know the first thing about what I'm actually teaching. Because what I'm actually teaching is I'm pointing a man how to reconnect to his masculine instinct. I'm pointing a woman how to get back into her heart, get back into letting go of all control. Because when a man is totally tapped into his masculine instinct, all of the, we'll call them communication tools, all the rules, all the whatever, it's like common sense. It's like, yeah, no, that feels right. This feels like being a man. This feels exactly what I want to do. And like leading the relationship, not just the communication tools, but everything about, that I talk about how a man should be in a relationship. It's like, yeah, that's obvious. Of course, right? I'm just pointing men back to what they already know, and they just spend their entire life gaslighting themselves because they've been indoctrinated by a whole bunch of bullshit about how they should be, right? I'm teaching them what their body already knows, and I am doing it with really specific examples, communication examples. And it's the exact same thing for women, right? I'm pointing you back to what your body already knows. It's just you've got all this trauma and indoctrination and stuff over top of that you're completely disconnected from it. But things like asking permission and vulnerably, like I feel statements and expressing problems instead of solutions. Those aren't rules. Those are just what you would naturally want to do if you didn't have all of that trauma that's keeping you stuck in this compulsion to control things, to control your man, to share power or hold power over him or whatever it is, right? It would be so natural and it would be so obvious. And so that's why it's really interesting when men and women find my work, and of course they're going to have very different, a wide range of responses across the spectrum, where some people, men and women, can just feel it instantly, right? They're in touch with their body enough that it's like, oh, everything clicks. Everything just makes perfect sense. There's very little, if no resistance at all. And then on the other side of the spectrum, it's like, you're a misogynist fucking asshole, right? And a racist too. And of course, all of that nonsense is just coming from trauma, and they're not in touch with their body at all. They're just speaking fully from trauma. And then of course there's everybody else somewhere in the middle of the spectrum. But ultimately, why this stuff, this polarity work, can be so misused if you use it the wrong way, right? I don't want anybody using it the wrong way. As a woman, let's talk about as a woman. if you believe that these are all rules, right? Oh, I just got to ask him permission for things when I want something. I just got to, you know, speak in problems instead of solutions. I got to just, submit and do whatever my man wants whenever he's saying something. When you're operating from that place, where are you? You're up in your head. Because that's where rules exist, right? Is up in your head. And so what are you doing when you are trying to follow rules? Well, you're trying to be a good little boy or a good little girl, good little boy, good little girl, and do it right and follow the rules properly, right? And you're up in your head navigating that and analyzing, like, am I doing everything properly? And well, okay, so let's talk about women. So if you do that as a woman, you're not being feminine at all. You're just controlling things again. You're just controlling things in a different way, right? You're just controlling things with a new set of rules, but your control patterns, they're still there. You're energetically in your masculine and not really in your healthy masculine either. Well, I mean, there is no healthy masculine for a woman, but it can be a range of, it can be quite unhealthy with your levels of control. And so the more that you're focused in your head, the more that you're focused on this idea that polarity is a set of rules, the more disconnected you'll actually become from your body. And then you're actually doing the exact opposite of what I am actually showing, right? And this is one of the reasons why people really do need support, right? And the people that really think like, oh, I can just figure all this stuff out on my own. I can undo, a lifetime worth of trauma and limiting beliefs and all this stuff on my own. That's almost an impossible task. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I'm saying that your ego, your self-sabotaging tendencies, not to mention all the ways that you're going to misinterpret this stuff, it's going to almost definitely keep you stuck, or worst case scenario, it's going to take you like 10 times longer to get this figured out, because this isn't a skill like riding a bike or putting together a piece of IKEA furniture, where it's like, okay, step 1 of the manual, put the little pegs in, and step number 2, put this bracket in bracket A into slot B, right? It's not like that. This is the most complicated. I mean, it's simple in a way, but it's complicated in this. It's simple in the sense that once you have arrived, a man has stepped into his dominance, a woman has slipped or whatever into a radiance, opened into a radiance. That's a better word. Opened into a radiance. That is like, oh my God, this is the most obvious stuff in the world, right? And that's why when I talk about this stuff, it's like I do it with a lot of conviction. It's not because I just came up with this model out of nowhere, like Einstein, the theory of relativity. I don't know if that was Einstein. I don't even know, but some theory, and it's like, oh, this makes sense, or quantum physics. Oh, this model kind of makes sense. No, I know it because I live it. I know it because my body is telling me it all the time. I'm not following any rules. I don't follow rules because I'm not up in my head, right? I'm living in my body and acting from my body, and I'm able to easily, and so as a man, that's what I'm doing, right? So I know what is dominance, and I know exactly when I'm emasculating myself in any way, because I can feel that, right? My body is actually signaling that. I'm not following rules. I'm just listening to my body. And it's the same thing for a woman. And like when I'm teaching this to women, it's really obvious how feminine a woman is, because I just have to listen to my body again, right? Where did I get all of these rules from? Was it some abstract theory that I came up with? No, it was from learning to listen to my body, because I'm instinctually programmed as a man to know what's feminine and masculine, right? The problem is that most people are so unbelievably disconnected from their body, right? And it's funny because we're talking about rules, right? Most people are so much in their head. They're so stuck in their conceptual, spiritual mumbo jumbo theories that they read from a bunch of books or from coaches, or, got programmed from TV and from all this other bullshit, that they have no idea what their body's actually telling them, right? Or they have so much trauma that's on top of their their innate instincts that they can't really, they're not really feeling their instincts, or they don't know how to really listen, right? Because the trauma is running the show. And so that's why so much of this work can be really like dangerous, counterproductive. Maybe you'll learn some stuff and then get stuck later. It's because, again, like this is as deep as it goes, right? This is everything that you need to know, not to know, everything that you need to integrate, to experience, to shift, to fully heal everything, to become, a fully functional, happy, dominant man or radiant woman. And if you want to try figuring it all out by yourself, I mean, okay, really good luck to you. I think you'll get stuck at some point and just end up self-sabotaging again, another pattern, assuming that you integrate any of it, right? Assuming that you're actually able to really get out of your head and get into your body and start shifting this for real. And a lot of people don't even do that. They just one more conceptual theory to put on top of all the other conceptual theories. But if you want to actually integrate this and really transform your life, right, really actually make these shifts in an embodied way where you're fully out of your head, you're tapped into your body, you're living through your body, you're living through your instinct, your cock as a man, through your heart as a woman. That's when you can let go of all the theories, all the concepts, all the rules, because they were just pointing you in the right direction. Towards deeper inner healing, if you know how to actually do it. And that's what we really help you shift in our academy programs, our 6-month program for both men and women. We help you fully get this online, right? Make these shifts in an embodied way where all of this stuff finally fully clicks and becomes obvious, right? You don't need to be up in your head thinking like, what's the next rule? Like, what's rule number 27 that Zach has? No, because all the answers are already in your body if you know how to listen. And when you, or as you make these shifts, right, and you become more dominant as a man or more radiant as a woman, the answers become increasingly obvious, right? Increasingly obvious and easy to implement and integrate. But it really requires getting that initial support to really shift in the right track. And so like as a woman, we show you how to fully get in your heart, right? Fully feel everything, move through everything, let go of all of that control. So you're fully out of your head, right? We're teaching you how to be home in your heart forever. So you don't need to control anything externally because you already are able to just feel whatever comes up because of external circumstances and just flow through it. And then just be able to express it, right? Without controlling any perceptions or anything like that. And that's what's going to make a man instantly, right? Because this is instinctual. It's not like, oh, well, she's following all the rules, so I guess I'm going to be attracted to her. No, it's going to instinctually, he's going to come online and want to devote to her. He's going to be compelled to. It's because it's instinct, right? And it's the same thing for a man. When a man's doing this work in the academy, it's not conceptual. It's fully integrated. So he is actually energetically becoming increasingly dominant. He's feeling increasingly powerful, increasingly in control of himself, and capable of a leader. Capable of being a leader, of leading women, of leading men, of leading himself. And it feels natural, right? There's none of that discomfort, right? He becomes home in the world. He becomes, just fully able to penetrate his way through the world and feel totally comfortable doing it because his instinct's online and he moves he learns how to penetrate, right? He learns all the ways that he's been softening himself and weakening himself, and then moving through the discomfort of stepping into his dominance, right? And letting go of all those emasculating tendencies, both subtle and not subtle. So by the end of it, you know, a man's going to feel so much more dominant and actually fully capable of leading his woman or leading any woman, right? Because he's made these embodied shifts. He's not in his head thinking about rules that he's supposed to be following, right? And the same thing for a woman. And so this is going to literally, I mean, most people, I'm just going to be honest, most people, even if they learn this stuff, even if they're in my free group and reading my books, the sad truth is most people are never going to get anywhere close to this true polarized state that I'm talking about, where relationships are just totally effortless. There's no problems, just super easy, and life is easy, right? They're going to get stuck at some point. They're going to make excuses. They're going to settle for their own shortcomings, whatever it is, and not get what they really want. But they could have, right? And you can, but you have to actually be serious enough about it. You actually have to be truly committed to this and be willing to do whatever it takes, right? If you're not willing, like if you're not committed enough to actually get support in this work, then how are you going to be committed enough to do it by yourself, right? You're not, because this is like the hardest thing you could do and the scariest thing that you could do. So right away, it's like this litmus test where it's like, you're not actually serious. And I really want people who are serious, and I want people who are not serious to get serious, because if you are serious and you really commit to this, you can do whatever you want. You can become the best version of yourself with work. I mean, and with courage, but you can absolutely 100% do it. And you can have the dream relationship. And more importantly, you can be your dream self, right? And I think that's ultimately way more fulfilling anyway. And you can't have the dream relationship without becoming your dream self anyway. And so if that's what you want, you're really committed and you want that kind of support where you can just shift this stuff so quickly and shave literally decades, if not a lifetime, off of your learning curve, then send me a private message on Facebook and let's talk about your situation and why you want support. I want you to send me a message and let me know that you sent me a message because of this video that you're watching, and then we'll talk about what you're going through and how to get you from where you are to totally transformed and dream relationship. Whether you're single right now or in a relationship, doesn't matter. Send me a message.